Hi, my name is Amy. Thank you very much for watching and let's make some bad financial decisions together. This is for entertainment purposes only, so if you're entertained, please like and subscribe. I would really appreciate that. So today I would like to go over this Bloomberg article that was written as a part of what we did in July. So at some point, you all will want us to stop talking about this, but the ambassador Kwan shared this with me yesterday, and really, it was like 11 p.m. at night. So we'll just go over this. I think this has a soft paywall. I didn't pay anything, but we're reading the article anyways. So basically, they're saying, so on a Friday afternoon in July, some 2 dozen of us gathered in Midtown Manhattan to preach an alternative path from just you work your entire life and then you only get a couple of years to enjoy it if you're lucky. But this portion here, when they say is plow money into a host of newfangled dividend-chasing strategies and use steady stream of cash they generate to escape the 9 to 5. Never mind the long-term damage it might do to their portfolios. Okay, just so you know, I have given it thought about the long-term damage to my portfolio, but you know what is also damaging to your portfolio? Withdrawing your profits from what you have been doing for the last 30 years, that also damages your portfolio. Even if we're talking about just the 4% rule, every time you divest to cash, it damages your portfolio. And so they have this picture. Everything is bordered in hot pink. Oh, I guess, is it two different colors? No, it's just pink. So anyways, so then they go into Eli, and Eli's like, my granddad worked in a factory his whole life, and he doesn't want to lock his capital away until he's 65. And then there's some dividend investors. I think one of my favorite parts of this article is this philosophy is one of the many quasi-religious investing movements that has sprung up among young, financially insecure Americans worried about inflation. I didn't think that we were quasi-religious, but if I could be religious, we could preach yield, and maybe I can get a religious exemption to all of this tax I'm about to pay. But it's more like a quasi-cult, because when we're all fans of these high-income ETFs and we talk about them all the time, it can become kind of a cultish kind of atmosphere that we're going towards. But I do still listen to people that have differing opinions about these high-income ETFs. I think for myself, I'm just spending a lot of time delving into it and researching them, and I am very curious and excited about these because this is a new way to have a dignified life with less capital. So unlike meme stocks or crypto moonshots, this strategy, what might be returned to as dividends and chill, preaches control and consistency, a monthly drip over flash-in-the-pan riches. No YOLO, just yield. And just so you all know, that is going to influence me into making a no YOLO, just yield song. It's gonna come out. So I think the next part is they don't realize it comes at the expense of the price level and it isn't making you richer. Okay. So the argument people have against just regular dividends is it's not free money. The company has to make the money and then divest it to you. So you're giving up growth in order to get the dividends. But in regular dividend stocks, it's a different kind of company than a growth stock that is actually giving out dividends. So I think that I don't agree with dividends don't make any difference because you can just it's just like a growth company is different than a dividend company because, or like a value company, because they're in different parts of their business cycle. And so when they're looking at this and they're saying, well, if you were an MSTR, just an MSTR, you would have $463,000. But if you had been in Misty, you would have $343,000 versus if you had just divested of cash, you would have $270,000. And then, Misty, just the value of Misty has gone down. So the thing to remember here, and maybe some point this weekend I will find the spreadsheet and update it. If you need income from MSTR and you are not doing covered calls on it, and you take out $5,000 a month of stock, eventually you will have less money than if you had been taking out that $5,000 a month from Misty and then just reinvesting what's left over into Misty. And the way to get even better gains over time is you take the $5,000 from Misty and then you take at least a portion of it and you invest in MSTR. Because it's true that high income ETFs, they cap the upside and you have little downside protection. So over time, the value, the appreciation won't keep up with the underlying, but you will have gotten a lot of income along the way. And I personally think that getting enough distributions to live and then figuring out how to get that to be sustainable, like I would rather sacrifice more money in the future because, well, right now I don't have traditional employment. So my alternative to this is I go into a lot of credit card debt. I lose my house. I'm homeless. It just, the catastrophe is endless. So I would rather have a portfolio that might not keep up with the actual underlying, but the underlying and my portfolio is both outperforming the S&P, maybe. And it's not even about outperforming the S&P. Whatever the benchmark is, I'm getting enough money to live on and enough money to save for the future. So what is the problem with just having enough money to live my life now and have the choice of whether I want to work, having a choice of expanding my wealth? I just think that if you spend 30 years being really, really, really good at saving, you have this frugal lifestyle, you never do anything, you never go on vacations, you never enjoy anything, then when you retired and you have the time to do the things, it's not your habit and it's not what you do. So you're not going to spend the money anyway. So what's the point of accruing things? Just to pass it on to the next generation who doesn't have the money management skills and just going to blow it on a new car? You may as well use the dividends that you have now to live the life that you want to now. And if you can pass on to the next generations, that's fine. But it's just a mindset thing for me. I want to use my money now and just have the lifestyle I want in the future right now. Anyways, so there is a thing here where they interviewed me afterwards, the coach, and this was at the table in the sign-in, and we had dinner here. So at a part here, there's this Ben Eifhart, I think his last name, how you pronounce that. So basically, you're fooling people into thinking they're somehow getting income. All they're doing is giving my money back. So the value ETF is declining and you're paying me that. And I think when the market is going bad and you don't do any research into YieldMax, that's what it feels like, but they are actually doing these derivative products. They're doing cover calls. They're generating money, and you can do it yourself with options. You're still going to have the same issues that YieldMax has, except you can lose less money than if you do it yourself. So I'm just saying that cover calls are a way to keep the principal, like your stocks, intact, but it's not without risk. And Mike Venuto said, if you want to own the underlying, just own the underlying. We're not stopping you from owning the underlying. We're not trying to beat the underlying. We're trying to give you income, which I totally agree with. So, and I am paraphrasing. You can read what he actually said here. So people who are trying to get the upside should not buy YieldMax. But if you need income, you want income, then these are good things if you want to not gamble with your money and you just want to buy and hold and let somebody else manage a thing that is somewhat complex and at least takes time. So this Cesar Ortega, this was an interesting story because he said that he had been buying and selling meme coins, and he's always had the shiny object syndrome, and he had to get out of that because he lost, I think it says that he lost too much money, but basically he had been doing trendy investments, he got tired of it, and so YieldMax sometimes is the sane alternative for people. Like myself, I was planning on trying to do like leveraged swing trading to try to get my portfolio up and get richer quicker, but then I pretty much early in my research found Misty, and I was like, I know that Misty is not going to sustainably have 100+% yield, but it has 100% yield right now. So my bet back then when I was investing in it in my taxable account, the bet was, can I get 100% return on investment before the implied volatility slows down and the price drops, which I did, and then I had to sell it anyway, which is very sad. But once you have 100% ROI, there's no more risk to the YieldMax because they've already paid you back all your money and you're still getting money. So he says that it just kind of became an addiction. Now you're seeing dividend funds, the high-yield ones, coming up with insane numbers, more than 50%. And that really drew me into ad income while I didn't have a job. And yes, I am doing this while I don't have a job because I am able to get more than a 50% yield. Although once you get up to the 50% and higher, they're higher risk. And when you have lower than the 50% yield, you have more options and to pick what you want to get into that has the level of risk that you want. So I wish Ortega luck. We have a similar size portfolio, I'm assuming, because he has $160,000 in his portfolio, and he has $9,000 of income per month. And I have a Brave browser. Let's see. And I have $97,000. I have $97,000 plus an additional like $70,000. So I have $175,000 in my portfolio right now invested, and I am hoping to get between $9,000 and $15,000 this month, which who knows? I mean, the market's going to do what the market's going to do, but I put myself in a position where I said, I need more money, I need a raise, and then I changed my portfolio from something sane to leverage crap. So, it's an option if you don't have a job in order to make enough money so that you can, get your tax bill, your taxes and bills and everything paid for, and you're not falling behind. And it's way less stressful to look for another job if you still want to look for another job. It gives you options. We do options so that we have options. That should be on a t-shirt. Remind me later. So YieldMax has been the most visible magnet for investors. I agree with this. I think that YieldMax has a really good name. Like, you see YieldMax, what are they doing? They're maximizing the yield that they're giving you. So it's very intuitive. And then they have done a really good job with doing community building with retail investors. But we do have other ones like Neos and ProShares and Defiance. And I definitely don't have anything up on my computer right now, but let's see. This is YieldMight, and I don't know why my browser's not like on my monitor correctly. Hold on. Watch me fail at using a mouse. What are we doing? Okay. There we go. That's the entirety of YieldMight. This is the website that I made that I needed a high income ETF comparison tool. And over here on the left hand side, you can see that there's filters. And I have a filter by issuer section. So we have Amplify and Bitwise, Cornerstone, Defiance, Global X, Goldman Sachs, Granite Shares, Grayscale, Innovator, iShares, JP Morgan, Crane Shares, Curve, Neos, Nest Yield, ProShares, Rec Shares. Oh, we have two different Rec Shares. I'm going to go into my thing and fix that because we should only have one Rec Shares. Roundhill, Simplify, Tap Alpha, UBS eTrax, which is GLDI, like, it's just a weird company. Anyways, Vista Shares, Volatility Shares, X Funds, and YieldMax. So there are a lot of providers, and these aren't even the international providers. There's like Harvest and other ones. So there are more and more companies that are coming out that are doing high income ETFs, and they are doing it in slightly different ways. And so as more products are on the market, there are, of course, okay, I was like, which tab is this now? Anyways, so there's going to be new products that are out that will improve how we get income over the years. And so they're talking about the high fees. And so before this, JEPI, that was really popular because it only takes 20% of its portfolio and does cover calls on it, so it returns 10%, which is still better than SCHD when you're talking about an income. But they said this also does not outperform the S&P 500, which it's not trying to do that. It's just trying to smooth the volatility for you. And so there's, so this part is where they say Mark Van, he created a Facebook group in 2018 called Retire on Dividends that has 30,000 members. And then he launched his YouTube channel, and now he has his YieldMax ETFs Reddit, and that has 70,000 members. So I think they called him one of the founding fathers of this online world, which is amazing for you, Rod. So another part of this, they talked about um, sorry, I don't want to read this whole article. You can read it yourself later. But a part of this article, they were talking about on in Reddit, there's our dividends. And I just wanted to say that the dividends subreddit is actually not pro dividends. So just be careful which subreddits you wind up on, because if you're talking about like quasi-religious and cult-like behavior, subreddits do get that way where there's an implicit, like, this is what is acceptable to post here. So just be careful about that. And then when I was reading this, it seemed like Bloomberg is not convinced that high income ETFs are a good thing, and that, but I mean, it might just be balanced reporting and I'm just in this echo chamber. But I would just like to remind everyone, and you all, I'm definitely preaching to the choir here, but if you need income, do high income ETFs. If you don't need the income, use growth stocks to grow your wealth. That way later, when you do need income, you can then convert it to things like these high income ETFs or run your own cover calls. Like, it's not that complicated to do your own options. It's just a matter of, well, do you even want to do your own options? And does your portfolio size support the level of cover calls that you would need in order for it to be properly hedged and risk managed? So anyways, it's exciting to be included in a Bloomberg article, even if they didn't wind up directly quoting me, because I did get an interview with the reporter there. But I mean, it's really fun. I'm glad I told because I was on the phone with my friend last night when I received the news that this article was published. And I was saying, I'm glad that I wore hot pink blazer to the event, because it would be even harder to find me in the pictures. But because I'm wearing hot pink, you can definitely tell that it's me. So anyways, I will talk to you all later. Where do you all fall on this? Like, how are you using high income ETFs? Are you using it to pay small bills first? Are you trying to retire early? Is it satisfying to get the dividends and being able, or not even dividend, distributions, and be able to pay and grow the amount of money that you're getting every month? Please tell me, and I will talk to you all later. Bye.